Welcome to this Microsoft Excel Basics tutorial in the Excel for Data Science series. In this tutorial, I will be showing you most of the basics that you need to know in order to get started with Microsoft Excel. The version of Excel that I'm going to be using here is Excel 2019 for Windows. If you're using a different version of Excel or if you're using Excel on a MacBook, there might be slight differences in what you see here versus the options and features on your Excel. But for most of the part, what I show in this tutorial will be the same across different versions and operating systems. Alright, so let's get started by searching for Excel and by clicking on this icon. Once Excel gets started, we are presented with a lot of different options here. We can open a blank workbook, we have a lot of different tutorials by Excel, and we are also presented with a lot of different pre-built templates that we can use. I would definitely encourage you to at least go through some of them later, but for the purpose of this tutorial, let's just open a blank workbook so we can start learning Excel from scratch. So let's get started by getting acquainted with the basic layout of Excel and getting familiarized with some common terminology that you should be aware of when you're starting out with Excel. These buttons that we see on top are called tabs. For example, Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, etc. And clicking on each tab presents a whole lot of options to us. This gray region where the options are presented to us is called the ribbon, and the ribbon is further divided into sections of similar options called groups. For example, clipboard, font, alignment, number, tables, illustrations, etc. The options that you see by default in each group are the most commonly used options for that group. And if you want to see the entire list of options for a particular group, you would have to click on this Extend button at the bottom of the group. Let's now get to the spreadsheet section that actually houses all your data. This is made up of columns and rows. The columns are labeled with alphabets A, B, C, D, etc. And if you scroll to the right, you will see that after Z, columns are further labeled by repeating alphabets. And if you scroll all the way to the right, you will see that the final column is labeled XFD. The rows, on the other hand, are labeled with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will see that there are approximately 1 million rows in the Excel spreadsheet. Let us now see what are cells. Cells are all of these individual boxes that you see in the spreadsheet. All of the cells put together make up the spreadsheet. Each cell has a unique address, which is nothing but the intersecting point of the column and the row of that cell. For example, the cell which I've selected right now has an address D4, and that is because it lies as the intersecting point of column D and row 4. The address or name of the cell you've selected can also be seen in the name box over here. Let us further build on the concept of cells. A group of cells, when selected together, make up a range. It could just be two cells that are adjacent to each other, or a selection of more cells over a desired region. Like each cell has a unique address, any range that we select can also be defined by a unique address. Let me quickly highlight the range that we've selected, and then I'll show you what is the address of this range. The naming convention of a range is as follows. You put in the address of the cell in the top left corner, followed by a colon, followed by the address of the cell in the bottom rightmost corner. Following this convention, the address of the range highlighted in yellow would be D4 colon H10. And that's because the address of the cell on the top leftmost corner of the yellow highlighted section is D4, and the address of the cell in the bottom rightmost corner of the highlighted yellow section is H10. Ranges are a very important concept and we will continue to cover them more in detail in subsequent sessions. Now that we've seen what are columns, rows, cells, and ranges, we've covered all the basic concepts of the worksheet. And like all the individual components of the worksheet had unique names, like the columns, the rows, the cells, and ranges, the worksheet by itself also has a unique name, which is present at the bottom of the screen over here. And if you want to add more worksheets, then you just have to go on clicking this plus button over here. And finally, all of these worksheets put together make up this Excel workbook, which in this case is called Book 1. So far, we've covered the basic layout and the common terminology that you need to be aware about when you're starting out with Excel. This brings us to the end of session 1. If you like this detailed tutorial, please do consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel to get an update when I put up more videos in this tutorial series. Also do check out the description box for links to my other videos and also to get links to my other social media channels if you would like to follow me there. I will see you soon in the next tutorial in the series.